Welcome back, everybody. Somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good, because here I am, standing here saying my next guest is Julie Andrews. Julie, so lovely to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Hello, Stephen. Very nice to be here, too.
You've been very busy. New podcast, new Netflix series. How are you adapting to working from home?
Well, it's very, very convenient. I mean, first of all, how lucky are we to be able to still continue working at this time?
Yes.
On projects that we can do. And working from home has been quite fun because I tried for the podcasts particularly, which we're thrilled about, tried to make the first few from our local wonderful studio here on the island, but eventually everything got shut down. So my wonderful grandson, who's an engineering whiz and into everything, film, cameras, television, built me a sound room in my closet.
Is this, and I think this might be
that's it.
That is right there.
Julie's sound booth, yes. It's filled with pillows, as you can see, blankets,
yes.
And padding on the walls and towels behind it. And it's quite hot in there. But then my daughter Emma, with whom I work, she has one in her house down the road. So that both of us go into our closets, and it's been rather fun and silly.
One of your, if not your first, was Eliza Doolittle your first Broadway role or one of your first?
No, the first one was a show that came from England, and we were a brand new company that brought it over called The Boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And then a 1920s sort of little pastiche of the times and a silly story, but very sweet. And then came My Fair Lady, and then Camelot, yeah.
Well, my understanding is, and I believe this story might be in the book that is now available in paperback, Homework, Memoir of Hollywood Years, that you learned how to basically break down and approach a character by doing Eliza Doolittle. How did that come about? That wasn't necessarily something that came naturally to you.
Well, no. I mean, first of all, the musical part of the show, I could pretty much manage, but vocally. But
we noticed.
Thank you. But honestly, that was a huge role. I mean, it was everything from screaming as Eliza and Cockney accent and growing, learning about good diction and language and so on, and huge songs. So I also had no idea how to do George Bernard Shaw, or Bernard Shaw, as you would say here in America. And so I really was horrible when we first began rehearsals. And I know that our leading man, Rex Harrison, was not at all happy with me or my performance. And our wonderful director, who was the great Moss Hart, said, come on, we're going to spend a weekend together. And we're going to break down the whole script and everything. So we went into the theater, and he pleaded and bullied and cajoled and showed me. And by that end of the weekend, I had it at least 50%. And I thought I was going to be sent home at first. But of course, over the years, and I did do it for a very long time, over the years, I was able to really learn the ins and outs. Alan J. Lerner, who wrote the lyrics to My Fair Lady, said, it's better to do a long run in a really good piece than a lot of repertory in many pieces in one respect. And that is, you get to know how to nail the laughs, how to pull the audience in, and no matter what the weather is, you know what to do. And it's just a wonderful learning exercise to keep it fresh and do it every night. And I did it all together for about, believe it or not, about 3.5 years between America and England.
8 shows a week, I'm guessing.
You bet.
Oh my gosh.
It took its toll, but
yes.
But what a beginning experience. I mean, who's luckier than I to have that to begin with?
Well, I want to talk about the transition from theater to film, or even for that matter, anything that's captured on even video. is that, not that I've had your career, but I started off in live theater, and if you have a good show, I would run something for over a year. And then
Now, where was that, Stephen?
that was in Chicago. That was in
Okay.
Chicago. I did straight theater, and I was also a member of something called the Second City for many years there.
Of course, I didn't realize that.
But then when I actually came to work in television, you would work just as hard to get the script right, and then you'd shoot it once.
I know, and far less time and far bigger an audience, and it was all crazy.
It is. What did it feel like the first time they said, okay, you got it right, let's move on, after having the opportunity to dive into a character for years?
I think that the pleasant thing about filmmaking is that it's shot in very tiny segments instead of, you don't start at the beginning and go right through to the end as you would obviously in a show. And so you have the time to work it in, but it's all out of sequence. And the other thing is that on stage you are all the time in full figure. But of course, in film, you could be a waist shot, a close-up on a giant CinemaScope screen or something. And there's a lot of new things to learn. And I had some wonderful mentors helping me as I began film.
I understand I understand from the book that your very first line you ever had to say on film made you tremendously nervous, and it was a very simple line in Mary Poppins.
It was so simple that I couldn't think how to do it. And Dick Van Dyke, my partner on that particular shot, said something like, "You look very pretty today, Mary Poppins." And all I had to do was walk past him and say, "Oh, do you really think so?" And I thought, how do you open your mouth, Julie? Just say it, you know. Do you really think so?
We actually have that clip. Let's see how he finally landed it. Jim?
Mary Poppins, you look beautiful.
Do you really think so?
Cross my heart, you do. Like the day I met you.
You nailed it, kid. You're a natural. Madame, we have to take a quick break, but we're right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more Julie Andrews.